insane. Make things happen for the youth professor.
Sanbonani Makaya, it's yet another Sunday ku SABC1 Mzansi for sure. Well, you know what that means. The Limitless Youth Show brought to you by the NYDA Igama, Utoli B, and I am your host. All it means is that I give you the 411 on young people in Africa that are doing amazing work in their different fields. We are at Oslo Clothing, which is a very artistic place. I'm sure you can see even behind me. And with no further ado, we start with a dancer. His name is Paul Modjadji. He is amazing.
Hi, this is Paul Modjadji, and welcome to my hood. This is Hammanskraal, where I grew up. Okay, so in the nutshell, I think that is, who Paul is. He's a dancer, he's a writer, he's limitless in more ways. He's an entrepreneur, and the first South African dancer to win what is one of the biggest dance competitions called the European Star Dance World Championships. The only South African dancer to win the Global Young Leaders Award from the Global Youth Leadership Congress in Washington, D.C., as well as recently now in 2011, I had the honor of receiving an award from my very hometown, my very home country rather, South Africa, where I won the South African Youth Award for 2011 for the arts and entertainment category.
Ladies and gentlemen, the nominees for arts and entertainment are
Nonkululeko Mabaso. Nonkululeko Mabaso is an outstanding curator and fine artist and executive director at Students in Free Enterprise at the University of Cape Town. At just 23 years of age, she has her own network called Newcastle Creative Network and is also a representative of Africa Business Network. Paul Modjadji. Paul from Temba, Hammanskraal, is today the recipient of the Global Youth Leadership Award. Paul taught himself how to dance, soon catching the attention of the Dance Academy in Denmark, earning him a year-long scholarship. Since returning, he has represented South Africa on 4 international platforms. Siyabonga Mitane. Siyabonga Slicker Mitane is one of the founding members of the record-breaking South African hip-hop group Squatter Camp. Slicker has become a role model for many South African youth as an artist, social change agent, and businessman.
The winner is Paul
Modjadji.
I'd like to say today that our cause is for excellence. So as you go out there and you do it, be excellent at it.
I am limitless.
Behind me is a community hall where I run a foundation and a project called the Dare to Dream. This is where I experience my full circle moment, because like so many of the youngsters that I work with here, my story is just like theirs. This is where it all began, at home, playing around, getting together with my friends without any formal training, because we didn't have such. And years later, here I am, I'm literally reaping the rewards of all those years of doing pretty much what these kids are doing.
This is it's a project. It's a little project that doubles as a production and as well as a leadership program where people come and audition, and then they're tested on grounds of singing, dancing, and acting. I'm learning how to be, an artist and how to co-pay, because as he's a dancer, right? But then he also shows us that you can't just be a dancer. You really need to, be an all-rounder. So he encourages us not to just, focus on our strong points, but as well as push ourselves outside of what we're comfortable with. For instance, I'm a dancer, and I just recently discovered that I can act.
One of the first projects that we're starting this year to encourage, of course, reading in our young stars, but at the same time to also tap into the artistic side, because we believe that one of the strongest mediums that you can use to really reach out to young people is through the arts. So we have scripted a production called Rory Sang and Julie, and it is a first for my community because we really don't have a culture of theater. You know, I certainly didn't grow up knowing what the theater was until I was much older, which is a modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet with a modern twist, with a bit of a twist here and there.
I played the role Lerato, and she's a very interesting person because she's very feisty and she's a diva. You know, she's loved by everybody, but yet she hides herself through that, and the character motivates me to stand tall and be positive in life. You know, whatever goes on, then yeah, you can make it through.
I must say I was more than anything inspired to do what I do here, to do this work that I do by my own personal story. I grew up in a community where really there was little for me to really tap into. I was a boisterous kid. I really had a love and a passion for performing and for being out there, for speaking, for dancing. I wanted to do it all, literally, but I had nowhere to go. And one of the strongest mediums that I used in that time was television. So I watched a lot of TV, which is where I always say I got most of my foundation and my training from, because you grew up and you use what you have. And looking at what could be possible for me with that sort of foundation that was not so stable has really inspired me to really look into these youngsters that come from my own background and to think, if they have that sort of solid foundation that I wasn't allowed, how much more further can they go?
It's up to us to use what we have and turn it around for the better.
Tomorrow belongs to the can-do generation.
And if we can do it today, imagine what the generation following us can achieve.
I am limitless.
Nothing like this has ever been done before in Amanskraal, so it's good. I mean, you find kids like from school, high schools, coming and looking, being interested. Small kids, yeah, just checking the scope out, and it's coming along well. It's something to do. It's awesome.
As the youth, we go through challenges like drugs, sex, abuse, you know, and sometimes you have to hide, because you don't actually want the world to know about that. But when you're actually in the arts, it's a way of expressing yourself and relieving the pain that's within. So I think basically doing the arts is a good thing for the youth.
And what makes this project so special is because we're working with youth who have never ever had any experience in their lives. But I'm telling you, a month with them, you will not believe.
5, 6, 7, 8, 1.
Paul is very driven, uthanda umsebenzi wakhe and committed, and uthanda ukusebenzisana nabantu, uthanda ukukhulisa abantu, uthanda ukukhulisa abasha, uthanda ukukhulisa anyone on a passion for performing arts.
Paul is a leader because, you know, he's fun, he's cool, he's warm, you know, he brings in the jokes, but he's also serious. He has these moments where, you know, he's very professional.
I'm very grateful to have him as my director, because he's a very special person.
Hey, boo, mama.
He's caught off guard.
Pardon me, no more. Your name and I tatala di dance. As rato dala di bolo le bashimane. Not la mgra anse aruta no bagana. To dancer.
We never knew what Paul was gonna come up with next, or what the next big idea Paul had. So it was always like, oh, what's going on with Paul now? So yeah, that's the kind of person. He's still kind of pretty much the same person he was, but it's like now it's channeled.
When I do something, I put my entire life on it. The work that I do with this community, I take just as serious as the kind of work that I do, I get paid to do, you know? So we've seen me in my sort of work mode, and we've met the people that really the cornerstone behind, you know, the person that you meet out there and you read about, and that, you know, has really sort of walked this journey to get to where I am.
When I